William Headbird, now 47 years old, of Cohasset, Minnesota, has been sentenced to 19 and a half years in prison for the July 2021 drive-by shooting death of Diego Gasca. For background on this story, here's our report following that shooting.
46-year-old William Headbird of Cohasset, Minnesota, a man with a long criminal history, has now been charged with second-degree murder in the July 5th, 2021 drive-by shooting death of Diego Gasca in Cass Lake, Minnesota. Reading from the criminal complaint, quote, on July 5th, 2021 at approximately 2:45 a.m., the Cass County Sheriff's Office received a report of a male party shot near Basswood Avenue and 4th Street Northwest in Cass Lake, within the exterior boundaries of Cass County. Deputies arrived on the scene and found a male victim lying in the street with what appeared to be several gunshot wounds to the chest, and he was pronounced deceased at the hospital. The victim's body was later transported to the Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office, where an autopsy was conducted. Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office determined the victim's death was a homicide caused by gunshot wounds. The Cass County Sheriff's Office learned through their investigation there was a large gathering which had been taking place at 323 and 412 4th Street Northwest in Cass Lake. The gathering began in the afternoon of July 4th, 2021, and lasted into the early morning hours up to the shooting incident. Just prior to the shooting, witnesses reported a group of individuals walking through the party scene, which took place in the yards of the above listed addresses and Basswood Avenue Northwest. Witnesses observed a verbal altercation between these males and several of the guests in attendance, including the victim. Witnesses at the scene identified one of the males as William Joseph Headbird, a.k.a. Tudor. Shortly after the altercation, witnesses observed a car pull up at the intersection of Basswood Avenue and 4th Street Northwest, and several shots were fired from the vehicle. The vehicle then sped off to the east on 4th Street Northwest. Witnesses report the victim stumbled and fell shortly after the gunshots, and they realized he had been struck by gunfire. Witnesses described the vehicle as a four-door sedan, either tan or white or silver in color, with a loud exhaust. Investigators learned that William Headbird owns a 2000 tan Pontiac Grand Prix, which has a loud exhaust. Investigators located surveillance video of a person walking up to the apartment complex where Headbird lives. Audio from the video indicates a vehicle starting and loud exhaust is heard, while taillights are observed leaving the parking area and heading northbound on Highway 371 into Cass Lake. A vehicle matching the above description is then observed on surveillance video at the Cass Lake Mini Mart heading north. Additional video from a private residence to the west of the scene shows a vehicle with a loud exhaust heading east towards the scene. Shortly after, multiple gunshots are heard on the video along with people screaming. After the shooting, the video from the apartment next to Headbird shows a vehicle crossing Highway 371 and heading west along the railroad tracks. Headbird was located and questioned by law enforcement and indicated he was intoxicated the night of the 4th and did not know where his car was. In August of 2021, Headbird's vehicle was located on a property belonging to a former relation of his. The vehicle was partially dismantled and covered with debris in an attempt to camouflage the vehicle. The car was towed to the BCA laboratory, where it was processed for forensic evidence pursuant to a search warrant. BCA reported locating several fingerprints on car parts removed from Headbird's vehicle to match known fingerprints of William Headbird. A DNA profile was located on the interior driver's door handle, which was consistent with the known offender sample of William Headbird. In April of 2022, Witness 1 met with law enforcement who indicated they were present at the party the night the victim was shot. The witness identified the vehicle as William Headbird's car and stated Headbird was driving. Witness 1 also indicated they witnessed a rifle barrel sticking out from the driver's window when the car pulled up to the scene. Witness 1 identified William Headbird as the shooter and stated the car sped away to the east after the gunshots were fired.
Again, Headbird now convicted and sentenced to almost 20 years in prison. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNewZ.TV.